Hey everyone, welcome back to this week of the Raving Geeks podcast. It's Brendan Valentine here along with Hope Gooderl and a new face to the podcast, Isaac Hunter. He will be another co-host with us in the future. So we're just going to do a quick intro with Isaac to let him introduce himself, and then we will get the podcast underway. Isaac, if you want to take it away.
All right. Well, my name is Isaac Hunter. My pronouns are he, him, his. I'm a transfer student to CMU. This is my first year here. My major is history, and my minor is museum studies. What makes me a geek? Heck of a lot of things. I have 2 Tolkien-inspired tattoos already. I love Lord of the Rings deeply and Star Wars with my Star Wars Christmas sweater right here, and the poster in the back. My knowledge about Dungeons and Dragons or Warhammer 40k lore that I just have tucked away in the back of my brain at all times. A lot of things. Superheroes, movies, a little jack of all trades, I guess.
Perfect. You sound exceptionally qualified to be on this podcast. All right. So then we're going to get started today with our quick opener question with the holiday season coming up with post Black Friday and Cyber Monday deals. We thought it would be prudent to ask, what is everyone hoping they could get as a gift? And then we don't want to just limit this to like realistic things, but like anything from pop culture, whether it's a movie, comic book, TV series, anything like that. If you could receive anything as a gift, what would it be? Hope, do you want to start?
All right. So if we're going more towards like creatures with the stereotypical like get them a puppy for Christmas, I would definitely have to say either a bowtruckle or a niffler from the Harry Potter Fantastic Beasts series. If I can't have a creature, then I would say either Cap's shield, because honestly I want to know like how that big man fits behind it and just like covers himself with the shield and makes himself a little turtle, and also like he's just one of my favorite superheroes. Or anything from Bucky. Honestly, if I could get anything from Bucky, that would be great.
Awesome. Isaac, do you have anything that you'd like to receive as a gift?
Well, I guess realistically in the real world, I've always wanted a Lego Death Star, but that's still unrealistic because they're like $500. Anything from any pop culture, I would love a spaceship from Star Wars. That would be fantastic. Or like any weapon, Star Wars or Lord of the Rings especially.
Would it be a specific ship from any of the Star Wars, like specifically like Millennium Falcon or anything?
All right. And okay, specifically any ship, I would love a B-Wing.
Ooh,
they're fighters, so they're small, but they're fantastic. I don't know. I love their shape. They're so weird looking.
I don't know if you're into Mandalorian, but would you fly the Razor Crest or no?
I would fly it 100%. I would even be frozen in carbonate on it. I wouldn't care.
I know, it's a dope ship. Speaking of Mandalorian, that actually gets into what I would like from pop culture. I would really like a Mandalorian jetpack. Saw those first in Clone Wars. I mean, technically, like it showed up in like Attack of the Clones, and Boba Fett had his in Return of the Jedi. But like, I really got into them during the Clone Wars series with the few Mandalore arcs. And then seeing it in Mandalorian and everything, I'm like, okay, definitely, 100%. Because originally I was thinking, like a Batman grappling hook, but I'm like, wait, a jetpack can do the job so much better, and I have a rocket launcher on my back. So you can't really go wrong with that. So, all right. And then before we get into our main topic for the day, we just want to update everyone on our geek news of the week. I can start with that. I only have one big announcement that I have heard. As of the recording of this podcast, this announcement has not happened yet, but Disney plans to announce all of their new upcoming projects for 2021 and beyond on December 10th. it should be a lot of like Marvel, Star Wars type stuff, as well as their own, like, I'm sure we'll hear new Disney film projects and everything, but I'm most hyped for the Marvel and Star Wars stuff. We've gotten a few updates recently on the TV series with a release date for the WandaVision series, as well as some new updates on the filming for the Loki series. And I'm just hoping that we'll get a little more definitive things for shows like Captain America and the Winter Soldier, or
Falcon.
that's what
and
I'm
Winter
hoping
Soldier.
that will have. Yeah, no, I'm in my head. It's Captain America and the Winter Soldier because that's what I think they should call Falcon instead. But Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and then some of the upcoming movies since everything's been delayed. But also, like, if they've got new Star Wars content for like the Kenobi series, or if the Cassian Andor series is still in production, I'm hoping to hear some news about that. So it's like one thing, but like at the same time, there's a lot of things that are going to be coming out of that. I'm hoping we'll be able to talk about on upcoming podcasts. Hope, I know you had some news.
Yeah. Well, going off your Marvel stuff, the Hawkeye movie or series is currently in filming production with Haley Steinfeld, I believe is who she is. She was in the Pitch Perfect movies, in the at least the third one, and I believe the second one as well. But so keeping along the Marvel track, we got some huge news. I think it was mainly yesterday, but we were talking about it in my Marvel class today, about the news about Spider-Man 3. So if any of you have listened to our first podcast, Brendan, Dan, and I talked about our predictions for Spider-Man 3, and it seems like a lot of those are going to be coming true because you've got Alfred Molina back as Doc Ock, you got Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, Emma Stone is reprising her role as Gwen Stacy, which will be interesting. Cause yeah, that's where like I'm thinking, because she's dead, so like that'll be interesting. And then Kristen Dunst is coming back as MJ. And they're all supposed to make like some little like thing appearance in the movie. And how the heck Tom Holland didn't spoil any of this when he's been filming for at least a month, I don't know, but I'm kind of disappointed in the child because, like, come on, you spoil everything else. You spoiled the fact that you died in Infinity War, even though none of us fully got it, but you know.
I think it's the power of Robert Downey Jr.'s sweatshirt that he's been wearing on set. If you've seen those on-set pictures, I think he's channeling his inner RDJ.
I think he's also learned, like, hey, if you spill anything, you don't get to know anything at all. You know, like with Endgame and stuff. So, but so like another one moving away from Marvel, but keeping in movieverse, there is going to be a live-action Tom and Jerry movie that is coming out on March 5th. And it's Tom and Jerry take on the big city, the Big Apple. And it kind of looks like the graphics, Tom and Jerry are still animated and everyone else is alive like us. But it's going to be really interesting because it's still the same shenanigans of Tom and Jerry. You just have him in a big hotel in New York City. So yeah, that's March 5th next year. It's 3 months away. And then finally, going back to a recommendation I had made a couple of podcasts ago for the show One Day at a Time on Netflix, I found out that it did get picked up on another streaming service called Pop TV, but that one you need like log in with like Spectrum or cable or whatever, or if you've got like the big fancy Hulu package that lets you watch live TV, you could also do that. So they've got season 4 going, and I'm kind of upset that I don't have these big fancy things to be able to watch it, but I'm hoping to be able to soon. So yeah, that is
realistic holiday gift.
Yes, that is my gift. I would very much appreciate that.
Perfect. All right. Isaac, I wasn't sure. Do you have any geek news for us today or anything you just want to keep us updated on, or do you want to get into the main topic?
I mean, Cyberpunk is coming out like
That's right. They got
right now. Tomorrow morning. I don't. It's the ticket countdown. Keanu Reeves.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, I can't afford the game, but it's exciting knowing that other people can play it.
Yes. There's been a lot of hype for that too. I know we've mentioned it before on the podcast. A lot of hype for that game. So that's and I know the fans have been waiting a long time.
Yeah.
I'm not personally into the Cyberpunk series, but I'm glad with that. When fandoms, get that big project they're finally waiting for.
Yeah.
Random question for you gamers: has anyone been able to get the PS5 now that like the hype is kind of dead down, or is that still not?
I'm not a
thing?
PlayStation guy, so
I'm not someone that has $500 kind of guy.
yeah, there is that too. I'm an Xbox guy, but I haven't gotten the Series X yet either.
Yeah, same.
So again, holiday wish list.
Realistic.
Realistic.
Yeah.
So our main topic for today, with the holiday season coming up, we've alluded to it a couple times already. We wanted to talk about our favorite holiday themed movies, anywhere from what a lot of our parents might consider a holiday movie, like The Polar Express and Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, all the way to what real people consider holiday movies like Die Hard.
Yes.
So, Isaac, do you want to get us started? What is your favorite holiday movie?
All right. My favorite holiday movie, and I had to write down a whole bunch and like really figure this out. I would put Muppet Christmas Carol. I don't know if you guys have seen it. It is hands down my favorite like Christmas Carol like story retelling, and probably my favorite Muppet movie. I just would always watch it with my family, and like they're Muppets, so they sing, and Michael Caine is in it. I mean, who doesn't love Michael Caine? It's fantastic. I also wrote Die Hard in the margins as like one of the possible ones. That's one of my favorites. But
your Muppets movie, is it as good as the Muppets of Oz? They're Muppets.
It is better.
Oh,
that one's all right. This one's fantastic. It's catchy. It's a heartwarming story. It's the story that people need, where an old, wealthy, rich white man gets haunted enough to give all his stuff to the poorer people.
I mean, Christmas Carol is always a good movie. I used to see like the play. They used to put it on every year, like in my hometown. But I have seen Muppet Christmas Carol, and I much prefer that version to the. I know that there's a film version from like the 70s or 80s that's like kind of old, and then they redid it as like a semi like animated, semi like CGI. Like it was a really weird. It was either a really weird animation style or it was all motion captured. And while that's good, I don't think it compares to Muppet's Christmas Carol. I feel like that's like a tier above.
And the animated one featured Jim Carrey, I remember. And it was like Jim Carrey played like all the characters, and I was like, wow.
Well, and then you've got like the spoof on A Christmas Carol with Matthew McConaughey and Ghosts of Girlfriends Past.
I haven't seen that one.
It's so funny. Okay, I will admit it's like a rom-com, but it's like snowy, Christmassy, and he's haunted by his Ghosts of Girlfriends Past, present, and then he sees his future as well. So it's like a spoof on it. And he also gets haunted by his uncle, who plays Hank Pym. I can't remember the actor's name.
Michael Douglas?
Yeah! And Michael Douglas is just like, the old bachelor. He's got his like scotch or whatever, just chilling out. And he's always playing the ladies. And it's a really kooky movie, and it's great. And so
I don't know, Matthew McConaughey and Michael Douglas, that's like an interesting like cast dynamic. That sounds fun.
It's also got I believe Jennifer Gardner, who's been doing the Capital One Venture card commercials.
I love her so much.
And Emma Stone is in it too, and she's a redhead with like curls, and she's adorable and hilarious. And yeah, she's actually the ghost that leads Matthew McConaughey's character around. So that one's pretty good.
Nice.
Yeah, well now I gotta watch it now if Emma Stone's in it.
Of course.
I know. I saw the clip the other day of who's the guy that does like for $1, can you do this on the street like that? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I feel like I do,
Billy
but I
Eichner.
Yeah. Thanks, man. Yeah, so I saw a clip where he had Emma Stone with him, and he goes up to me and was like, can you name an Emma Stone movie? And then I had to pause. I'm like, can I name an Emma Stone movie that's not The Amazing Spider-Man 2? And then I was like, oh, wait, yeah, The Help. That's my favorite Emma Stone movie. But she's in so much stuff. I went through her IMDb page the other day.
I feel like I've seen her in other things, and like I can see the character, but as soon as you ask me what character I'm seeing, I'm like,
I know exactly who she is. I think she does a great job, and then I blank on the actual movies. But now I won't, because I actually looked it up and I went out of my way because I felt bad. All right, Hope, what about your favorite holiday movie?
So I will say I saw Polar Express in 3D when it came out. I was in Colorado, I believe. But I also remember old 3D movies gave me massive headaches because glasses, astigmatism, and then having the blue and red lens, not a good combination. But I absolutely love the Santa Claus movies, all three of them. I will say the final one isn't my favorite. The second one is definitely my favorite. And it's got Tim Allen in it. He plays Santa Claus. And spoiler, but not really, because you find this out in like the first 5 minutes of the first movie. Basically, Tim Allen's character mistakenly kills Santa and has to become Santa, and he has to follow the Santa clause, like a clause in a legal document. Which the second one, there's a clause that Santa has to be married and have a Mrs. Claus. And then the third one, you get Jack Frost trying to take over the North Pole, and Santa losing his powers and having to get it all back. And
isn't the third one like Jack Frost turns the he makes the North Pole like this super late stage capitalist tourist attraction.
Yep. Yeah, he has the elves as like tour guides, and they hate their job. And like you feed the reindeer, but you basically just pay a bunch of money, and you don't get coal in your stocking because Santa made it capitalism. But it's definitely a really good series, especially for a family series. And as a person with two nieces, I'm waiting maybe one more year before showing my oldest niece the movie, but also I feel like she might be able to watch it now because she's super smart. But they're so cute and they're funny, and watching Tim Allen have to go outside in his boxers and a snow coat and like seeing Santa, shouting up to Santa, having Santa fall off the roof, and then watching the suit deflate because Santa is dead and him having to become Santa it's not as traumatic as you would think it is. So.
I know. I've always thought that as like a happy-go-lucky movie, but hearing you explain it like that, I'm like, no, it's a lot darker than I originally thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's darker when you explain it, but when you watch it, it's pretty light and more of like family bonding and like showing him what's actually important in life. And
so like when a comedy TV series like tackles a serious topic, they tell you that they give it to you straight, but then they just turn it all into a joke.
Yep. Yeah,
Got it.
basically. What about you, Brendan? What's your favorite?
If you can't tell by my background, I recently have a new favorite Christmas movie. And that's because I really like the corny like holiday movies. Originally, before this came out and I watched it, my favorite holiday movie was A Year Without a Santa Claus because of the Heat Miser and Snow Miser songs. I believe that's the right one. Yeah, that's right, because Mrs. Claus goes on the adventure to like make sure there's snow in the south, but then like Heat Miser needs like a 90-degree day in like December or something like that, and there's this whole like argument thing. If you haven't seen the trend where people are like painting half their face white for the Snow Miser song and half their face red for the Heat Miser song, I don't know. I've always thought that movie was like, it was like so ridiculous it was entertaining, but I found something more ridiculous. And that is the new Lego Star Wars Holiday Special. I watched it like a few days after it came out. Just like I was like, oh, this is probably going to be dumb. It is one of the greatest things I've ever watched, and I'm not kidding.
Is it dumb in a
is
good way though? Because like, is it still dumb but in a good way, or just not dumb whatsoever?
So you know how Star Wars is like, people love it when it comes out, but there's always this controversy. Like it happened with the prequels, it's happening with the sequels, and then once they release, like once it ages and they release more content to go along with it, like there's good things that come out of it, and you can make fun of the bad stuff. This whole thing is just making fun of the bad stuff the entire time, but in the context of a holiday special. It's just a giant meme. The picture I have behind me, there's an element of time travel in it, so you travel between all 9 movies. And in this section, 3 different aged Obi-Wan Kenobis all meet each other and go, "Hello there." And I had to pause because I was laughing so hard, and I had to rewind because I missed stuff. And it was very good, and but it like still has all the tropes of a good holiday movie. There's like a warm, fuzzy ending. There's lots of like connections with family, with the whole Skywalker lineage and everything. And they also make fun of all of the ridiculous parts of Star Wars. Because as a Star Wars fan, if you take everything as incredibly serious, you're never going to be happy, because there's just too much. There's too much stuff that either George Lucas or Kathleen Kennedy, or heck, even Dave Filoni, like, I'm not going to say messed up, but like didn't take as seriously as they could have. And it honestly just makes it comedy gold when it should be really serious.
Sounds about right.
So would highly recommend if you have Disney Plus. Worth it. It's, if you've seen the old Lego Star Wars specials, like, and those aren't amazing. I know I recommended them last time we were on the podcast because they are fun to watch if you are a Star Wars fan, but like this one is genuinely fun to watch, and even if you aren't a huge Star Wars fan but just kind of generally know what's going on, it's still entertaining.
Okay. That's something I will definitely look up, because I feel like we were talking about it in one of my Marvel classes, because professors just trying to make it as chill as possible, and we started talking about Star Wars. So, because I think we were also talking about starting in the middle, like Star Wars does with Episode 4 versus Episode 1. Yeah, so I will personally be checking out the Lego Christmas special.
Yeah, that's going on my list.
Oh, it's definitely worth it. And since we're it's a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, they don't celebrate Christmas; they celebrate Life Day, which is very, very fun. Also, if you've seen Star Wars Rebels, and this might be a niche thing, but they technically, I think, utilize the World Between Worlds, which like allows time travel in like through the Force. Like in this Lego Star Wars holiday special, and I was hoping they would actually turn that into a movie where like someone finds that out and actually like messes with a Star Wars timeline, but they use it in this holiday special, and I'm like, okay, as much as I wish they'd use it in like a live action thing, this has no consequences and they can do whatever with it, so it's perfect.
I was gonna say they could still do it, but like you kind of set it up with.
Seriously, I mean, there have been rumors that they're going to use that, like the time travel aspect, to delete the sequels because people don't like them so much. And I'm like, please don't. You made them, stick with them. Give them 5 years, people will love them just like they do the prequels.
I never like when directors do that, when they're like, wait, everybody hates it, so we need to find a way to get rid of it. Well, then people are going to get mad that you got rid of it, so there's no point.
Like Han shooting first and then getting rid of that. And then every movie they make, it just gets more ridiculous. McClunky.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Does anyone have any holiday movie specific recommendations apart from the movies that they've mentioned already?
Yes. I don't know if any of you on Netflix have seen the movie Klaus. It's like Klaus.
Oh, is that a horror movie?
No, it's not.
Oh, okay.
Is that Krampus or?
Oh, it is.
Yeah, that's Krampus. Klaus is it's a like animated movie, and it's got J.K. Simmons and Jason Schwartzman, and it's like basically like a retelling of like it's like how the legend of Santa came into play, and it's like about this mailman that gets sent up way up north to like a very almost like Norwegian type town, and I don't know, it's just a great movie, and it's heartwarming and funny. That's a good one. I recommend it.
Awesome.
I know I haven't watched them yet, but the ones that are on the top of my list to watch for this year, the Christmas Chronicles with Kurt Russell as Santa Claus, because I need to see him as Santa Claus after seeing him as Ego.
Yeah.
And I can't remember his superhero name, but in Sky High.
The Commander.
Yes, the Commander. Thank you. Seeing him as those, I need to see him as Santa. And then Operation Christmas Drop, because that one looks like just like a feel-good movie. That one, it's about a base on some island, a U.S. like military base on some islands, and they do like this Christmas drop where the military brings in a bunch of presents for the islanders because they're not the most well off. But of course, the government's like, no, we're losing money from them. We need to shut them down, and send someone to go be like, how do we shut this down? And of course, she ends up fighting to not shut it down. That's kind of told in the trailer. But that one looks like a really heartwarming kind of movie that I think we all need this holiday season. What about you, Brendan?
I actually have only been thinking about the Lego Star Wars Holiday Special for the last couple weeks. Trying to get my family to watch it to start like a holiday tradition. So every other holiday movie has been like removed from my brain. I mean, I can think of all like the classic ones that people have probably seen, like, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and all that stuff. But there's nothing that I think people might not have seen that I can think of. I don't know. We've mentioned a lot of good ones too that I haven't thought of.
I want to ask y'all's opinions on Benedict Cumberbatch's How the Grinch Stole Christmas, because I personally found it absolutely adorable. But of course, the critics were like, no, he's not mean enough. And I'm like, really? It's a kid's movie. Like, how mean do you need him to be? Like Krampus and scare the kids away? Or like...
It's not like Jim Carrey's Grinch was mean either.
No, he was just creepy. Because he was live action, and you actually saw termites in his teeth. And it was disgusting.
And it was Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
I didn't mind Benedict Cumberbatch's The Grinch. It's not, I don't know. It's not my favorite, but I didn't think it was bad at all. And I did think it was a cute world. I'm all for Whoville. So.
Yeah. If you had to pick between, like, the classic Jim Carrey or Benedict Cumberbatch, who would y'all pick?
Classic, hands down.
Oh, man. Okay, I just watched the Jim Carrey one, like, today. We set up the tree, and, like, we watched that while we were doing it. But, like, in the end, I'd have to go with the classic as well.
I will take all of that. I mean, they're all really good. I'm not saying one's worse than another. But it's just like...
Oh, no. I think it also depends, like, sense of humor, too. I've never been, like, Jim Carrey. I think Jim Carrey's funny, but, like, I don't think he's the funniest person in the world. And the live-action one just kind of, like, I thought it was a little creepy. Especially, like, the Who's, all of, like, the face prosthetics and everything. There were some that I'm like, that's over the top. And I'm going to be completely honest, I haven't seen Benedict Cumberbatch's The Grinch. So... I'll put that on my list of things to watch, and I'll get back to you.
There you go. I gave you a new one that's not Lego Christmas. Star Wars Christmas special.
There's nothing wrong with the Lego Star Wars Holiday Special.
I'm not saying there is, but I'm saying here's another option.
No, I'm also self-aware enough to realize that, like, I should have more things to watch around this time of year than the Lego Star Wars Holiday Special.
At this point in time in a pandemic where we've been in one for almost an entire year.
Whatever makes you happy, right?
Exactly. Just be happy. Perfect. That's all we should do.
All right. And then to wind down this week's episode, we're just going to give out our normal like recommendations for media. Like Hope said, we're still in the pandemic here in Michigan. We're still in lockdown until at least Christmas. So having more stuff to consume always is great. So Hope, do you want to start us off with media recommendations?
Yes. So, I recently found this series on Netflix. It is called The Letter for the King, and it's a fantasy series, and it's 6 episodes long, roughly an hour each. And basically, you've got Prince Viridian is the villain. Although, if you watch any of the cast interviews, or even just watch the show, like, he's the villain that's the misguided villain. Like, he feels like he's doing it correctly, but he's being guided in the wrong direction. But so Prince Viridian has just conquered one of the lands, Eviel Lin. No, that's what the people are called. Aviella. I think I'm saying it wrong. But then there's Dargana and Unawen, and I feel like I'm pronouncing all of those wrong. And I like just finished the show, so why am I saying them wrong? But so you've got one kid, and he has to take the letter that was written by Prince Viridian and had a secret message in it to the king, who happens to be Prince Viridian's father, before a certain time, and he was given this as a quest from a dying man, and it's really good. It's really... I loved it, every single episode, and I'm sad there's only 6 episodes. But it's also a book, and I recently ordered the book, both the original and the Netflix tie-in, to try and like see similarities and everything. And then if you want a series to watch that's just funny and you don't need a ton of brain power for it, but honestly just pulls you in anyways, the series Psych, which follows Sean Spencer and his best friend Burton Guster and their psychic detective agency as they work with the Santa Barbara Police Department on various cases. There are some episodes that are like heavier, but even those ones, they try and keep them somewhat light. But it's just really good, and you'll be laughing a lot. I mean, like, not necessarily laughing your socks off or making your belly hurt, but enough that you feel good. Those are
awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks, Hope. Isaac, do you have any media recommendations for us?
I do. Well, first, I will second Psych, because that's a fantastic show. That's one of my family's favorite shows. It's written so well. Media recommendations. If you can get your hands on an extended edition Lord of the Rings box set, you have like 14 hours worth of movie to watch and like 20 hours worth of extras to watch, and it's fantastic. But I don't know, if you want to explore the wonderful world of Dungeons and Dragons for free, you could watch Critical Role on YouTube and watch Matt Mercer and a bunch of other famous voice actors play out hysterical things. Yeah. Sounds
great. I might actually have to look into that. D&D keeps popping up on my TikTok For You page, and I'm like, okay, this is cool, but I have no idea what they're talking about. Also, I'm pretty sure Lord of the Rings is on Hulu now.
Is it really?
But
I think it just got on. It's not the same, but if you don't have the money or the means to go out and get it, but you also are interested in getting into Lord of the Rings or just want to watch them, pretty sure it's on Hulu if you have Hulu. And then to finish it off, my media recommendations, in order to prep for when I finally get a new Xbox and can start playing and can afford Assassin's Creed Valhalla, I've been replaying the Assassin's Creed series. If anyone has played it before but kind of forgets what it's about or haven't played them before, highly recommend it, especially if you're a history buff. It's a nice mix of like historical accuracy with like some fiction. I'm not going to say fantasy, or like it's history mixed with historical fiction, and it's really, really cool. Lots of lore in it too, if you're into something with lots of information. And then a series, if you're just looking for laughs, Big Mouth season 4 just came out on Netflix. I'm a huge fan of Big Mouth, a huge fan of John Mulaney's comedy as well as Nick Kroll. And with season 4 out, that's just a lot more to enjoy. I've been enjoying it, not quite done with it yet, but highly recommend.
If you want to watch just like John Mulaney in general, any of his specials on
anything.
Netflix, I think my favorite has to be Radio City, I think.
Mine's Comeback Kid.
Yeah, that one's really good. They're all really good. John Mulaney's awesome.
He's very funny. If you need a laugh and don't know who he is, John Mulaney is awesome comedian, very funny. Honestly, anything you can find on YouTube too, where he does like interviews and stuff. I just saw a clip where he was talking about the royal family and all the drama with that. That was comedy gold. But I think that is all the time that we have for this week. So thank you all for tuning in with us. Have a wonderful holiday season. We hope you all are staying safe and staying positive. And then this has been Hope Gooderl, Isaac Hunter, and Brendan Valentine with your weekly geekly news. And we are signing off.
Yeah.
May the force be with you.
May the force be with you.
Yes.
Happy Life Day.